If you had to choose just one movement to maintain for the rest of your life, choose the deep squat. A deep squat, not because it looks impressive, but because this is one of the most primal movements the male body was ever designed to perform. And the most important thing, most men never realize this, your legs and glutes are the body's hormone engine room. These are the largest muscle groups you have, and in male biology, the larger the muscle, the greater the demand for force production. When you truly make these muscles work, the brain begins receiving a very powerful signal. This body still needs to be strong. Immediately, the motor nervous system becomes activated. Blood circulation to the hips and pelvic region improves. Anabolic signaling becomes stronger. Insulin sensitivity starts improving, and testosterone is given a reason to remain at naturally higher levels. This is what modern exercise science continues to confirm. When you recruit the largest muscle groups in the body, you send the strongest biological signal for maintaining masculine strength. But what happens after 50? We gradually lose the ability to sit low. The hips begin to lock up. The lower back stays constantly tight. The ankles lose mobility. Circulation starts to decline. You can no longer move the way you did when you were younger. And this is not just a loss of flexibility. It is the loss of the ability to generate force, pelvic stability, deep core strength, and healthy circulation in the region that determines masculine vitality. In the next few minutes, you will discover a foundational movement capable of creating a kind of biological reset, a natural biological reboot, a movement that helps reactivate hormones, circulation, the nervous system, and the feeling of vitality many men believe disappeared after 50. And not just one exercise. You will learn an entire 5-step morning ritual designed to make your body more stable, more mobile, stronger, and more masculine from the inside out. If you want to feel younger by 10 years, even 20 years, pay very close attention because we begin with step 1, the foundation. Deep squat, deep squat. When you regain the squat, you begin to regain your vitality. Stand with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Toes pointed slightly outward. Now lower yourself down slowly with control. Push the knees outward. Do not let the knees collapse inward. That is a sign the glutes are not engaging enough. Drive the weight through your heels. Lower the hips as deep as possible while keeping the spine straight. And here is the secret. Do not rush to stand back up. You are not simply sitting in a deep squat position. You are unlocking the entire lower body from the ankles, legs, and knees to the hips. Hold the deep squat. Place the elbows lightly against the inside of the knees. Now shift your weight from side to side. As you shift weight onto one leg, lift the toes of the opposite foot upward. Then switch sides. 10 repetitions each side. You will feel the shins beginning to heat up. That is the sign the ankles are waking up. Because when the ankles become stiff, the knees and lower back always pay the price. Next, raise your heels as high as possible, then lower them slowly. 20 repetitions. If you lose balance, place your hands on the floor for support. You will feel the calves heating up intensely. That is when the ankles begin regaining mobility and spring-like power. After that, rise upward about 1/4 of the squat range. Pause, then stand up fully. Return back into the deep squat slowly with control. Right here, the hip joints begin to open. The deep core wakes up. The pelvic floor begins stabilizing. The glutes begin generating real force. You may feel the thighs heating up, the glutes tightening, the lower abdomen lightly bracing. Those are good signs. The ankles become more mobile. The hips gradually open. The knees begin working properly again. For this ritual, 3 slow, controlled rounds. But I know many people are thinking, my knees can't handle that. My back is too stiff. I understand, because the deep squat is the destination, not where you begin. You do not force the body. You guide the body back to its primal movement patterns. Think of it this way. The deep squat is the engine, but for the engine to become truly powerful, you also need fuel, smooth movement, and the right support system. That is why we need 4 more foundational movements to transform a single exercise into an almost bulletproof morning ritual for the male body. And that brings us to step 2, unlocking ATG split squat hold. We call this movement the unlock because if the deep squat is the engine, this is the movement that helps unlock the hinge of the entire male body. It is no coincidence that it is often called the king of the lower body, because the hips are the gateway to masculine vitality, and decades of office sitting, driving, and lack of movement have slowly turned that gateway to stone. Tight hips do not just cause back pain. They also silently reduce circulation to the very regions that support masculine vitality. When the hips become locked, the pelvis loses openness. The pelvic floor tightens. Blood flow becomes restricted. The nervous system remains in a defensive state, and the body struggles to maintain the strong, energized feeling it once had. In other words, a locked pelvis is a body losing vitality. That is why we must reopen this gateway. How to perform it? Stand in a long split stance. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Keep enough distance between the feet to give the hips room to open. Now lower yourself down slowly with control. Allow the front knee to travel forward. Let it move slightly past the toes. Do not fear that. When done with control, the knee is relearning strength. Extend the back leg behind you. You will feel a deep stretch through the front of the hip. That is the area that has been locked for years. Keep the chest open, spine tall, deep core, lightly engaged, pelvis stable. Then hold the position. The body is relearning how to generate force. If pressure shifts into the knee, reduce the depth. If the lower back feels tight, lift the chest slightly and soften the core tension. If you lose balance, hold onto a chair or wall. That is perfectly fine. And from here, breathe deeply, slowly. Inhale. Send the breath down into the hips. Exhale. Release a little more tension. As if with every exhale, you are melting away years of accumulated tightness inside the pelvis. 10 deep breaths or hold for 60 seconds on each side. If you begin to feel a gentle tension deep in the glutes, a stretch through the outer hips, a softer lower abdomen, those are good signs. The gateway is opening again. Step 3, the power factory. Glute bridge. A man is only as strong as his posterior chain. And if there is one muscle group most forgotten after 50, it is the glutes. It sounds simple, but the truth is, most men have almost forgotten how to use their glutes. Too much sitting puts the glutes to sleep. And when the glutes stop working, the lower back takes over. That is when back pain appears, the pelvis loses stability, the walking pattern weakens, and force production declines. More importantly, when you can no longer activate the largest muscle group in the body, testosterone also loses the signal that this body still needs strength. Now it is time to wake them up. Lie flat on the floor. Bend your knees, feet positioned hip width apart, arms relaxed by your sides. Now drive your heels firmly into the ground. Lift your hips upward. Do not use the lower back. Do not strain the neck. Focus only on this. Squeeze the glutes as hard as possible. At the top position, your body should form a straight line from the knees through the hips to the shoulders. Hold for 1 second. Squeeze even harder, as if you were locking the entire pelvis into place. If you are doing it correctly, you will clearly feel the glutes contracting powerfully behind you while the outer hips begin to heat up. The entire pelvic region will feel like it is waking up. If you only feel pain in the lower back, you are driving incorrectly. Lower the hips slightly, then focus on pushing through the heels and squeezing the glutes. Lower yourself slowly, but do not let the glutes fully rest on the floor. Keep continuous tension in the muscles. 3 sets times 15 repetitions. This is how you rebuild structural stability for the spine and pelvis. Step 4, willpower horse stance. This is where everything changes. We move from mobility into true internal strength. This is a secret that has existed for centuries within traditional martial arts. It is no coincidence that many older martial masters still stand as steady as stone. They understood one thing: real strength begins in the legs and pelvis. Stand with your feet wide apart, about twice shoulder width, toes turned slightly outward. Now lower the hips down as if you were sitting on a very wide horse. Keep the spine upright. Do not lean forward. Chest open. Deep core lightly engaged. Your hands may rest on your hips or extend forward. Then hold the position. After a while, your legs will begin to shake. The thighs burn. The glutes tighten. The hips heat up, and you will want to stand up. Do not rush, because this is the most important moment. This is when the nervous system is being retrained. The ability to tolerate pressure. The ability to generate force. The ability to maintain testosterone in a lower cortisol environment. Mental strength and physical strength are being forged at the same time. Hold for 45 to 60 seconds. Repeat 2 rounds. And remember, growth often begins at the exact moment you most want to quit. Step 5, integration, primal flow. This is where everything reconnects. You stop training isolated muscles and begin moving as one complete body. The way you once moved when you were younger, fluid, powerful, coordinated. Begin in the beast position. Place both hands on the floor, knees hovering a few centimeters off the ground. Core lightly engaged, spine neutral. Now step your right foot forward, lower into a deep position. At the same time, rotate the chest open. Reach your right hand toward the sky. Feel the thoracic spine rotating, the pelvis opening, the hips coming back to life. Return to center, switch sides, then transition into a bear crawl. 5 steps forward, 5 steps backward. Do not rush. No jerking movements, slow, controlled, like a body relearning its primal movement patterns. Maintain this flow of movement 2 continuous minutes, and then pay attention to how your body feels. The joints begin moving more smoothly. The shoulders feel lighter, the hips feel more open, the brain becomes sharper. Energy begins rising because when you move correctly, the brain starts releasing signals that make you feel more alive, more driven, more alert, more capable of conquering challenges. Dopamine rises, the chemistry of motivation. At the same time, the body's largest muscle groups continue firing continuously, sending powerful anabolic signals, reminding the body that this man still needs strength. And this is the most important thing you must remember. Getting older is not a choice, but how you grow older is your choice. You do not need a miracle pill. You do not need 2 hours in the gym. You only need 10 minutes of intentional movement every morning. 10 minutes to remind the body what a man was truly designed to be, strong. Make a commitment to yourself. 7 days, just 1 week, and observe what begins to change inside your body. If you are ready to reclaim the strongest version of yourself, write this down. I am in. I want to know who is truly committed to this journey, who has decided that after 50, they are not finished. They are only beginning a stronger version of themselves. And if you want more restoration rituals like this, content that combines body science, testosterone, the nervous system, primal movement, and masculine strength after middle age, stay connected with the channel. Because we are going to continue rebuilding the body from the foundation. The man you were at 25 did not disappear. He is still there. He has simply been waiting a very long time for you to start moving again. I'll see you in the next video and live like a man who is reclaiming the strongest years of his life.